Welcome, legends. It's time for Tack Room Talk. Proudly brought to us by our friends at Silver Lining Herbs. And now your host, from Buell, Idaho, a Wrangler National Finals bareback rider, Josie Young.
All right, we're back for another episode today, and today I have the bronc riding sensation, the ocean spray sensation, Mitch Pollock with us today. What's up, Mitch?
How are you guys?
I'm good. As always, I got my co-host here, Chance Shootnick. What's going on, buddy?
I didn't get quite the introduction that Mitch had, but I haven't rode a bronc with cranberry juice.
Ocean
either.
spray.
Yeah, I mean, that's something I've not done.
I mean, that was about as cool of a video as I've seen.
Man, that thing blew up. I didn't expect it to blow up like that, but it did.
Dude, the freaking beard and mustache. I mean, it's just like, it just, I don't know, what's the word for it? It just shot out like I'm a badass. Yeah. You know? And not to mention, like the whole thing, I'm like, man, this is a pretty cool angle here. I like where he's going with this. And then
just like Joe Cool, nonchalant.
And I was like, nobody's doing it on a bronc. I was like, this is going to be just a little hopper. And then I was like, man, he kind of had to bear down a little bit to get past
that sucker. Had a couple moves right there at the beginning. And I was just happy I didn't drop that ocean spray.
Yeah, I was like, and then stick the landing too.
That was not planned. I was going to get off on the pickup, man. But, man, that sucker just felt so good. And I was like, just a split second, I said, I got to jump off, and hopefully I land it, and hopefully I don't catch a toe, and it worked out perfect.
Yeah, I mean, was that the first take?
That was first take. I told my wife, I said, you better not screw this up because we got one shot here. Because I got on a horse right before that, and that one kind of was a handful, so I didn't want to try it there.
Hey, that was awesome, I must say. You talk about one take and not wanting to do it again, or it reminded me of a story. So everybody kind of knew me for riding bucking horses, but I rope a little bit too. And I set the arena record the first time my wife, she was my girlfriend at the time, that she ever went with me to a rodeo. I asked her to film, and I set the arena record in the team roping at Sisters, Oregon.
So did she film from them?
She missed it.
Oh,
she forgot to piss record. She forgot to push record. Yeah, 3-9 at Sisters, and she missed it.
Don't you hate that?
I was like, oh my gosh. So it's a cool story.
So did it even happen? I don't even know if it actually happened.
I don't even think it happened.
We know that you rode a bronc with cranberry juice in your hand.
Exactly.
I'm sitting on that horse, and I looked at her dead in the eye, and I said, do not miss this. You cannot miss this. She opened it up, or she handed me the cranberry, and I went and opened it, took a sip, and I looked at her like, are you recording?
So
it was good.
If you guys have not seen the video, where can they find this video?
Everywhere?
Everywhere, yeah.
It's on your TikTok, though, huh?
TikTok, Instagram.
What's your Instagram handle?
M_Pollock1. Yeah, and then.
Are you sure? You look confused when you said that.
I know. I had to think about my
He was
handle.
looking at Chance like, is that right?
Is that right?
I have no idea.
And then Facebook, just Mitch Pollock.
Nice. So you guys need to check that out because it's worth the watch. But Mitch, I want to go back a little bit. Tell people where you're from. Where were you born and where were you raised?
I was born in Reno, Nevada, but raised in Winnemucca, Nevada my whole life, and then played baseball all through high school. I mean, I junior rodeoed, and I come from a agricultural family, and both sides of family ranched and stuff, and just got to a point where, baseball at the same time as rodeo, and my parents, they said, you got to make a decision. So I decided to play baseball, and played baseball for all through high school, and then first year I went to Pendleton for college, got a baseball scholarship, went up there, and then after that year I tore my labrum, and I really didn't like it there in Pendleton. I thought it was the coolest place in the world when Roundup was going on, and then once Roundup left, it was a little bit of a ghost town, and I just thought I could kind of be part of a better program, so I transferred to CSI and walked on and was catching bullpens and just kind of doing grunt work for them for a while. And then I said, man, I really want to get on bucking horses. And
so had you ever been on bucking horses before?
Nope. I was 20 or 21. And
so tell me that thought process there, because that's confusing to me.
I hung out with the rodeo kids over there. One of my best friends, Cole Hatcher, he was on the rodeo team, and I was like, man, Cole, I wanna ride bucking horses. And
you're just thinking like for a whim, or you're thinking like I want to like.
Well,
I
wanted to try it. I wanted to. I always watching the finals and stuff. I'd watch Cody Wright and Billy Ettbauer, and I just thought, man, that's awesome, and I bet it feels really, really good. Mm-hmm. So I talked to Steve Burney and Cody Demers, and I said, so what do I have to do? I want to get on one. Have you ever been on one? Do you have a saddle? I said, no, I don't have anything. They're like, well, go home is right around spring break. They said, get a saddle and get all that together, and then talk to us when you get back up here. I said, all right. So I went home, and my Uncle Ken, he's a saddle maker, and he had an old Hamley saddle, and he fixed it up and got some binds put back in it, and I went to the fairgrounds, and they put me on a horse, and I wish I still had that video, but it was out of a right-hand delivery. It rolled out of there, and I rode it to the pickup man. I got off, and a bronc rider there, Brad Rudolph, he said, how long you been riding? And I said, that's my first one. Man, that felt good. And he said,
wow.
No, how long have you been riding? And I said, I'm not joking. That was my first one. And then a couple of the other kids said, yeah, he's not joking. That was his first one. And he told me, he said, whatever you're doing right now, you better drop what you're doing and get a saddle and make a living out of this, because I think you have what it takes.
So you like spurred him and everything?
Yes.
Wow.
I mean, I wasn't like setting my feet, but I was in time with the horse, and like one time I got sat up, and it's crazy because I remember it. I remember every single thing that happened. He kind of set me forward, and I just picked up on my rein and poked it out there, and it sat me back down in my saddle, and I just kept going, and it was awesome.
Yeah, and that's something to be said, because I've been on a ton of bucking horses. I tried to ride broncs in high school, and I was just starting to figure it out when I ultimately was like, I got sick of landing on my head. The bareback riding, I didn't mind hanging up to one and dragging around, but I don't like landing on my head. So, but it's difficult to figure out. It's one of those.
And it took me a while. Like I got on 5 or 6, and they were.
Took me a while. Really, I got on 5 or 6.
Like those first 5 or 6, I mean, I rode them, but they were just pretty nice horses, And then when I got up here, Cody he put me on stuff like that he thought I could handle. So I had a really good coach. He did a really good job with me. But then I got to a point where I think I was trying too hard. Yeah. And I was trying to make it perfect, and I've only been on, like 30 horses, and I got dumped on my head a few times, and then I really started learning.
Yeah. Well, I remember when you first come around here, I was still riding bucking horses, and I would go over to the college every once in a while and get on a few tune-ups here and there, and I even remember asking Cody to be like, dude, who is this Mitch kid? He's got a lot of try, Like I could see it back then that you were gonna figure it out, and so it's kind of cool to see where you come. How old are you right now?
27.
Yeah, so
6 years you've been riding.
Yeah.
Yes. Yep.
And already been to a national finals rodeo.
Hopefully be back there this next year.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's talk about that national finals rodeo.
Man, it was, everybody that watched knew that I did not have very good finals. I mean, I got bucked off one horse, rode every other horse, but I missed every single one out. It was rough. Those 10 days were rough, but on the other aspect of it, it was the best 10 days of my entire life. It was so cool just being there, and actually, I think missing those horses out has made me a better bronc rider. Do I think some of them were close? Yes, but I do agree with some of them that I did miss them out. So you just learn from it and become better.
Yeah.
So are you for instant replay in rodeo then?
I think so. I mean, we have the technology nowadays. Will it slow down? maybe not for instant replay, but I do think that we need a couple judges like in a back room that are watching it as it's going on, and they can tell right then. I mean, a judge standing on the ground has a lot going on, and it happens really fast. So I would hate to be in that position and have to make a call like that, especially for $26,000 a night. I mean, that's a lot of money, and I don't know. We'll see what happens in the future.
Yeah. No, I mean, the judging system, anytime you have a judged event, there's always going to be controversy.
Yep.
I've always thought that there needs to be horse judges and rider judges.
Yep.
It's hard in my mind to think that they can see
both
at the same time.
You can.
And so that would be something that I would like to see them fix. So, yeah. So you were a pretty good wrestler too, from what I hear. I didn't see
that's
it.
That's a funny story too. I wrestled up until high school, and then I played basketball. My mom was the varsity basketball coach for the women for like 14 years in Winnemucca there, and then my dad was a 3-time state champ wrestler. So I was kind of like, being pulled in two directions. So I had some people wanting me to play basketball, some people that wanted me, to wrestle, and what I truly loved was basketball. I love basketball. So the first 3 years, my freshman, sophomore, and junior year, I played basketball. But my junior year, I decided, like, it was 3 weeks in, and I was working my butt off, and just didn't see eye to eye with the coach. And not to say that I deserved to play or anything, but when you're working hard, I do think that your effort should be, rewarded. So I told him that I'm going to go to the wrestling mat, and he told me good luck, and I went, and I ended up winning state that year.
Wow.
And on the wrestling mat.
So you just pick things up extremely quickly.
Lucky.
I don't know. I think there's something to be said about it.
But I got my ass kicked for the first 2 months. Like I got worked at some of those because I hadn't wrestled for 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
It sucked there for a bit, but then finally I was like, you know what, I got to make this happen. And I had a coach kind of chew my butt there and told me to quit feeling sorry for myself. And from that point on, I didn't feel sorry for myself.
So how does wrestling translate into rough stock? It seems like a lot of good rough stock guys have really good work ethic, wrestling career.
Work ethic and just heart and determination. Wrestling's not fun. I mean, you can ask anybody out there, wrestling is not fun. I mean, it's fun winning, but the effort, the work that goes into it, man, it sucks. I mean, you're sweating and the blood and tears, and it's hard work. And
push to the limits.
Yeah.
And I think that's what goes hand in hand, especially with riding bucking horses.
Yep.
Is you push those limits a lot, and in the bucking horse riding, there's nobody to blow a whistle and say
no,
stop, everybody stop.
No, yeah, until you're on your head.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just love the two sports, and that wrestling has made me a better.
And it's one of those things too, when you get knocked down or you get knocked on the end of the beak or something like that, if you submit in the bucking horse riding, then you're done. You're toast. You can't ever give the leverage away.
Yeah.
And you got to hit back harder.
And you know how the rodeo lifestyle is. It's hard. I mean, there's going to be ups and downs, and those downs really suck, but you just have to push through them and know that there's going to be a better day.
And also, you talk about being tired and stuff. I mean, there's a lot of times throughout the season that people don't realize like what we go through. I mean, all night drives,
being away from family.
Yeah, being away from family and pulling into a rodeo on, an hour and a half sleep, and you have one that's maybe not as desirable as the rest. You wish you had that hopper, but
you still got to get on.
You still got to get on him.
Yeah.
And I remember like literally almost about ready to fall asleep when they're loading bucking horses, and it's crazy. But those sports like wrestling make you step up to those occasions.
Yeah. Yep, I totally agree.
Yeah. No, it's cool. But so you go to state, and how does the state wrestling deal go down in Nevada?
In Nevada, and that's actually pretty cool too. So it's in the Cox Pavilion right next to the Thomas and Mack.
Okay.
And right before so we're same deal, 1A, 2A, 3A, and the state championship matches. They had 1A state championship match going on here. We were in the middle, and then I think 4A was right next to us. And I mean, there's 3 or 4 matches going on, and everybody's just watching you. And before we walked out, I was in the tunnel that we walked through to the locker rooms for the bronc riders and bareback riders and stuff. I was in that tunnel, and I was just looking out in that Thomas and Mack, and I was like, man, that is the coolest building. And then they just walk us right around the corner, and we're in the Cox Pavilion, and went out there. And I was losing too that first round. The kid spladled me, and somehow I rolled out of it, and I was like, man, I better not go back there, because that was really close to being done. And come back and worked him those last two rounds.
Yeah. And so what weight was that?
119.
Ooh, that's a strappy weight.
Yeah, 119.
So you come to college at CSI, you get on the rodeo team, and where I kind of started to get to know you a little bit is when you was entered in the smoker.
Oh yeah, the old boxing smoker. I'm so happy I don't have to fight in that thing, man. That sucked.
Well, first year, didn't you win best boxer and best bout or something?
Jeez.
Yeah, and I was fighting.
Do you do anything bad? It's like
yes, I do. That first year, I wasn't on the rodeo team yet, so I had to fight on the blue team. Oh man, I got hosed. Steve Burney, I got hosed. I should not have. That was not a tie.
Oh my gosh, who did you fight? Do you remember? Was it a rodeo guy?
No, it wasn't. It wasn't.
And for everybody that doesn't know, the CSI Boxing Smokers, it's a big fundraiser. It always happens in January. The CSI rodeo team puts it on as a fundraiser, and it's kind of the biggest thing in Twin Falls, Idaho.
Oh man!
I mean, they pack it. How many seats do they have in there? Probably
I think a couple thousand people come. Huh?
Yeah,
it's plumb full too.
And Sean Davis was the original guy that started this. Sean Davis was the producer of the National Finals Rodeo for years. Just retired, 2 years ago?
Yep.
So the show that they put on at the National Finals Rodeo. He tries to imitate that at the Boxing Smokers. Yep. So it's kind of
it's a production.
It is a production. There literally is production meetings.
Yep.
And it's everybody knows their place. Yep. But man, it's really, really fun to watch. I actually boxed in it when I was going to school there.
That's a different adrenaline, huh? Than getting on a bucking horse, or just anything.
Oh, I love it. Yeah.
Man, my heart beat so fast when I step. You like crawling through the ropes, and you're like, "Holy cow, man! This kid's gonna try and hit me in the face for 3 rounds." Like, oh my gosh, people are screaming and hollering. It's awesome.
Did you guys still take fighters to Utah and to Montana and stuff?
No, they remember Pendleton did one too.
Yeah.
And I think they used to take a couple kids up there, but not when I was going there.
It's so funny because they would always bring fighters. These different rodeo colleges would bring fighters down to the Smokers. Sean would always get on and kind of campaign for it, and everybody liked coming to ours because it was
cool.
It was a cool big deal. But at the time when I was going to college, I was still boxing. Like I actually went to a boxing gym and was fighting outside of the Smokers, and I was the only one. It was funny. I was sitting there. I think Cody Demers was in there, Jesse Davis. Who else was going to school with us? Maybe Oren wasn't quite there yet. But anyways, there's a bunch of us, and they're like, who wants to go to Utah to help their boxing smokers out? And I was the only one that raised my hand. Jesse'd sit back there. I remember giving Jesse Davis his we went up to Montana one time, and he fought Joe Heggie.
Oh, really?
He fought Joe Heggie up in Dillon, and they just sit in the corner and beat on each other's faces. I'm like, is anybody going to cover or move or anything? They just sit there and beat on each other for literally 3 minutes straight. And Jesse, all he said, inhaler? I need my inhaler.
That's, after every match, that's how I felt.
Oh my gosh! So I had to run and get his inhaler so he didn't die. But it was pretty funny. But yeah, I don't know. There's good times with the boxing smokers. So you're headed off after this podcast. You're going to Southern California to a rodeo.
Brawley, the cattle call rodeo.
And Brawley is right on the border.
Yep, right on the border.
Yeah.
Way down south.
Way down south. How many times have you been to Brawley?
2 or 3.
Yeah. You had any luck there?
This year I will.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
You got a good one this year, huh?
Yep. Yeti Rambler of Reno Rossers. They were just 88 on it the other day at that Bronc match over there in California.
Tell me about that Bronc match.
It was pretty cool.
What was the deal with that?
George Veeder put it on, and Lefty Holman and those guys got together and put a sweet bronc riding together.
Yeah.
And had a bunch of money added and really good horses.
Yeah.
Jam up horses.
Really?
Yeah. And,
Who all brought horses?
I know Reno took some horses, and then Lefty some of his practice horses. George had some horses there, and there's another contractor that, oh gosh, I can't remember his name.
Yeah.
I hope he's not listening.
Well,
but it was pretty cool, and that place, George's place, is phenomenal, and really nice arena, perfect bucking arena.
Yeah.
And then cool barn right there, and yep.
The Bronc matches have kind of become something new. Do you see that evolving and like?
I hope so. I mean, I don't want to take away from the sport of rodeo. I like going to a rodeo and seeing 7 different events. You know, some people don't, but I do, and I think that's what rodeo's been based around. So I hope we don't like get away from that. You know, remember when they were doing the PRS and stuff like that? I don't know. The PRCA is. I don't think it's going to disappear anytime soon. So, but it is cool that we're getting some new bronc ridings together and more money for us.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's kind of cool, like when you're rodeoing full time, to see those other guys. You don't just have bronc riding friends. You've got friends that are timed event guys and bareback riders, bull riders, whatever it might be. So I remember, I used to always trade help with another bronc rider. That's all. What we did all the time.
Yeah, that's. You go to a rodeo, you see your bareback riding buddy, and you got me. Yep, you got me. Yep. So
yeah. So how do you pick your buddy? Like, do you just
someone that's smart that you can trust?
Yeah.
So you pretty much have like your go-to guy for both of you guys when you guys were rodeoing. Yeah.
I know.
I had a handful of guys that when they were up, I would always count on them.
Same for me.
Court Shearer was always a guy that I would.
But it's weird too. You'll get in like if you're winning, and the same guys pulling your saddle or rigging, you're always looking, like Caleb Bennett.
Mm-hmm.
Every time.
I thought you said smart.
Oh, I know he's listening.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we always trade help. So,
yeah. No, it's fun to see all those guys. So you're headed down there tonight, but you're stopping in Beaver, Utah.
Yep. Hopping with some of my buddies, the Wright family.
The Wright family.
Yep.
Let's talk about the Wrights a little bit. How'd you get mixed up with the Wrights?
I went to school with Rusty up here.
Yeah.
And then the year Cody got hurt, horse flipped over on him. He asked his boys if they'd like to travel with me, and then he called me up. And when he called me at first, I didn't know what to say. You got a 2-time world champ and one of the best bronc riders in the.
Is he like the godfather?
Like to me, yeah. I mean, that guy rides so dang good. He, said, "Do you want to ride with my boys and Spencer?" And there's a pause. Yes, yep. Start entering me.
So, I was curious if you could tell us what the secret sauce was in Beaver, Utah. I didn't know if they're
heart.
If you're willing to share that.
A lot of try. Those boys have a lot of try.
Yeah.
A lot of. They're just tough, and I mean, I think I remember Alex saying it. He doesn't think that they're more talented than anybody else or anything like that. They just work so hard at it, and that's why those guys are so good. I mean, you look at Cody when he was in college. He did everything.
Yep.
He was an all-around cowboy. He roped.
Really?
Oh, yeah. He loves steer wrestling. Cody loves steer wrestling.
I had no idea.
He was at the he finished right as I was kind of coming into the college deal. But I remember my dad taking bucking horses over to the college to buck, and he was getting on bulls and horses and everything. That's where Stetson got his bull riding genes from.
Oh boy, that Stetson, he is something else.
So does Stetson travel on his own, or
no? So him and Ryder go together, and like when they're kind of splitting us up, we kind of just all jump in with each other.
Yeah,
kind of a mix sometimes, but man, that bull riding, Stetson he's unbelievable, the moves he can make on a bull. And now he's starting to figure out the bronc riding. So,
well, I popped into Chance's office the other day, and I seen this video come across of this kid making a phenomenal bronc ride, like kind of in slow motion. Really, just a really nice horse, not a kind of a souped up hopper.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't holding cranberry juice.
No.
So that wasn't that great.
But I was like, check this ride. He's like, man, that kid rides good. I was like, that's the right you haven't seen yet that isn't old enough yet.
Statler.
Yeah,
that guy, that was an incredible ride right there.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure it was at their house. Somebody filmed it.
And he's in high school, I'm guessing.
Yeah, Statler, he's 17, I think.
Yeah. Is that the last one?
Yes.
Wow.
Yep. But then there's more, like, you got Alex's kids, Jake and Jesse and Coburn, and I mean, there's just a pile of them.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think, you hear the old adage, iron sharpens iron, and it got to be like with Cody, Jesse, Jake, Alex, all them guys, they're riding good, they're winning, they're thriving, and they just fed off each other because they're around each other all the time.
Yep.
Then their boys seen it, and now they're here.
I
kind of got a phone call one time, the same kind of scenario. Cody calls me, and I was headed to Rapid City to the PRS finals, and Rusty had qualified, and he says, hey, I can't make it up there. He says, can Rusty share a room with you, and you kind of like keep an eye on him for me.
An eye on
and
him.
it was so weird because like I used to
because he's probably like 17, 18 years old.
He was 17. He was 17 because
I don't know if you're the right guy to keep an eye on somebody at that stage of your life or not. But
I was like, are you sure you want me to? No, but I was like, yeah, absolutely. He's more than welcome to. And it was so funny. This kid, 17 years old, and at the PRS finals, they take 12 guys, and 10 of them are all NFR qualifiers. I mean, it wasn't just a little podunk bronc riding, and he's just whooping everybody's butts. Yeah. And I had a good year. That was the year I won the average at the PRS finals. I paid like $10,000 to win the average, and with the round monies, I had probably $15,000. Then my sponsor re-upped with me there, and he wrote me a $30,000 check. So I had like $50,000. I was like, I gotta go put this in the bank. And he was like, that is so much money. And I was like, yeah, it is a lot of money. I was like, that's why I got to go put it in the bank. And now he's probably like, man, that's chump change.
Yeah. Yeah, those guys, they're amazing bronc riders. And they're just good people, too. Good people to be around.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and that's got to be just like I just said, I mean, when you're traveling with a truck full of winners, it's got to make you want to.
I'm not joking. As soon as I jumped in with Spencer and Alex there, those guys, like when I jumped in with them, it was like kind of during Calgary and stuff. So some of them were up there. So me, Spencer, and Alex went, and I won more money in a month going with those guys. It's like, snap the fingers and it just switched, and I started winning.
So what is the difference? Is the conversation different?
No, it's just you're thinking about winning all the time. I mean, a winning attitude. I mean, it's.
So do they call you out if you're negative? Or
I mean, not so much that, but they're not going to tell you made a good bronc ride if you didn't make a good bronc ride. If
kind of hold you accountable.
Yeah,
too.
like if you did something wrong, if you weren't lifting on your rein, if you weren't setting your feet, like we're pretty tough. On we're our toughest critics, looking at videos and stuff. So we're always trying to make each other better, and those guys made me a lot better. really fast.
Just being honest, it sounds like.
Yeah, being honest, yeah. Yep, and you hear it all the time. You hang out with winners, you'll be a winner. If you hang out with losers, you'll be a loser.
Yeah, for sure.
That's true.
Yeah, I mean, the conversation's different with winners.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
yep.
we have something that we say every single morning in the office here before we get started with work after our morning meetings. And it is a quote by Brandon Dawson. It goes, what you think is what you say is what you do, and what you do becomes your legacy. And that's exactly right. It doesn't, people think that, that applies to the business world. Well, no, it doesn't apply to the business world. It applies to everything you do in life.
Everything. I mean, if you want to be a good husband, it applies to be that.
Yep.
It applies to that. If you want to be a good father, it applies to that.
Yep.
Everything.
Yeah.
Everything.
And just being an example too.
Yep.
So no, that's cool. But let's talk about that hunting ambition you got.
I love hunting. That's a passion that I've had ever since my dad, took me out when I was 12 years old.
Yeah.
And I've really gotten into the archery hunting lately, and I was pretty, like last year I stuck, I had some tough luck. I stuck 2 bulls last year. Couldn't find either one. Stuck one like early on in the hunt, and I hit him in the shoulder, and then I shot one the last day, like a high lung, and we tracked him, and then it snowed that night, and woke up next morning and we couldn't find him. So I was pretty bummed. And then this year come around and I finally got her done. It's been 10 years since I've killed something with my bow. So
yeah. And you killed a good one this year.
Yeah, dandy. Nice 7-point. Yep.
Yeah, I was a little jealous.
Yeah,
let's tell that story.
So I was actually chasing another bull.
Yeah.
And I'm walking back to the ranger.
Like you hunted another bull hard for 2 days.
2 days. Yeah.
Yeah.
2 days I've been chasing a bull.
Let's tell the backstory here. Hold on. Just because me and Mitch had the same tag in the same unit or section, and I had been up there hunting a little bit and was having heck and trying to find the water. There's not a lot of water in that area.
No, and that's what I knew. So I went up there like that first weekend, that opening weekend, and I knew where those elk, some of them had been watering, and there were a couple water holes, and then told you about it, and you go up there, and then I go back up there.
Yeah, we kept missing each other.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure, man, that picture you sent me, that's a bull.
I sent him a picture. I started doing some homework when I got home and found these guys that had been up there hunting, and one of them sends me a picture of this bull they'd been trying to get, and they wouldn't tell me exactly where he was, but just from talking to him and just kind of doing some homework, I'm like...
You knew exactly where I was, too.
Yeah. I'm like, I kind of know where this bull's hanging out. And I sent that picture to you.
Well, I knew... So when you sent me that picture, that next morning, we're watching him on the ridge, and he's got like 40 cows with him, and then there were bulls everywhere. And I showed my brother. I was like, man, this is that picture that Josie sent me. That's that bull that right there. And we got to look in, and sure shit,
that was him.
Yeah, it was him.
Yeah,
it was crazy.
So I was loaded up because it was closing day. Well, it was the day before closing day. I told Chance, I says, I'm taking tomorrow off work. I'm going to go hit up closing day. I loaded my machine, had everything ready. I wake up at, I don't know, it was probably 3:30 in the morning, had some coffee and put my hunting clothes on, and I'm sitting there just sipping on my coffee, and I open up my text message, and here's Mitch just posing with this big freaking bull, and I'm like, that son of a gun just killed that bull I'm going out to look after. So, but I
kind of took the wind out of your sail a little bit right there.
I was not supposed to shoot that bull. Like, that was it was pure luck how it all happened, because I chased this other 6-point bull. I got in within 100 yards of him, and I sat on him all day, 5 hours. I'd sat on him, and 2 cows snuck out the bottom, and he got up, and I was cow calling, and he was coming up to me, and then he turned around and went to gather those cows up. And he wasn't coming back. So I tried to intercept him a few times, and the sun was going down, and I hollered at my brother. I said, I'll see you back at the Ranger. And I made one last push, and I got 80 yards from him. But there were some other cows that come in from nowhere. and they come at 50 yards, and then everything just kind of, scattered. And I was like, gosh dang it. Well, I'll come back in the morning. I know where he's going to be. And I'm walking back, and I'm 50 yards from the Ranger. The Ranger's kind of up on this little flat top, and I'm getting ready to start climbing up, and I hear this bugle just rip right to the left of me, and I turn and look, and here's this bull. And I didn't know what he was at first because it was getting dark, and I could just see him. He was walking right at me. And I crouched behind this little sagebrush. I was out in the cheatgrass, and there's this little sagebrush right there, and I crouched behind it, and I ranged the little spine that he had to come over to me, and it was 40 yards, and he walked over, and he stood just staring at me, and I was already drawn back, and I kind of chirped at him, and he wouldn't turn or nothing. I said, well, I'm going to have to send it right through his chest, and I made the best shot I've ever made at 40 yards and drilled him. He whirled, blood was coming out of him. He went up to the top, ran back to the Ranger. It was 20 yards from the Ranger. Did the old death wobble, tipped over right into a juniper right there. And then I walked up to him. And my brother watched the whole thing from the ridge when he was walking back to the Ranger too. He saw me shoot and everything, so it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And I pull this bull out of the juniper. He's buried in this juniper. And I was like, holy cow, man, I think he's a little better than we thought. And there's his 7, and I mean, the mass on him was just ridiculous. It was awesome. Yeah. I love it when it happens like that too.
I know.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, it never happens that way.
I was just
what are you talking about?
For Mitch Pollock, everything happens. It seems like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just got off the phone with my buddy too. I was all, I was disappointed. I didn't shoot that bull. I've been chasing him, and I was kind of feeling down in the dumps. And I get off the phone, and a minute later, just this bugle. I was like, holy cow! And it just happened like that, and I'm holding him. Holy cow!
Heart rate is high.
Yep, and that's what I live for. I love that adrenaline.
Yeah.
Everything I do.
What's your favorite animal to hunt?
Oh, those mule deer. Desert sheep.
Desert sheep?
Yep. We went on my dad's last year in Nevada before the finals, and that sheep hunting is pretty addictive. It's a lot of fun, but I'll hunt anything.
Yeah.
I will. I love it. And Idaho is perfect for a guy like me.
You like to predator hunt?
Yep. I do it all. I love fishing. Like when I come back from Texas after rodeoing, for 3 months, we'll head out to Salmon Dam and go fishing, and take the boat out and do some walleye fishing, trout fishing. So
it's good to just reset in the wilderness, huh?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, things are fast. So you just recently got married as well.
Yep, a year ago. Yep. October 5th was our anniversary.
That's awesome.
Yep.
So I guess, to kind of close things out, like what's your future plans and your goals, your ambitions?
My number one goal is to be a good husband, but I want to be a world champ. And I think there's only one way I can be a world champ is to have support from my wife and my family and my mom and dad and my sponsors. They're awesome. But if I have support from them, I can make it happen.
Yeah.
And I don't want to rodeo till I'm 40 years old. I really don't. Me and my wife plan on having kids someday, and I really want to be there and watch them grow up.
Yeah.
So when I'm, I don't want to put a limit on how old I'm going to be, but I don't feel like I need to rodeo forever.
Yeah. Well, I think, it's crazy how life happens. You never know what's going to happen. It's really not up to us, but things fall into place where they're supposed to. I think as long as you're on the track that you're on and doing the right thing always, opportunity presents itself. And it's crazy how it does.
And after I'm done rodeoing, I've wanted to be like my grandpa ever since I was a little kid. I wanted to be a cattle rancher. And so I've got about 25 right now. And by the time I'm, retired and stuff from rodeo, and I want to have around 100 to 200 head of cows, and that's what I want to do, and be able to hopefully pass that down to my kids if they want to jump into it. And then my wife's a nurse, so she takes good care of me.
Nice.
Yep.
Absolutely. Well, there's not a doubt in my mind that you can do anything that you want to do, because you've proven this far that you can do that.
Yeah.
So
if you put your mind to it, you can make it happen. Might not be easy, but
absolutely.
Heck yeah.
And might not happen overnight, but takes time. It'll happen.
Persistency is the key.
Yep.
You gotta keep your nose to the grindstone. So, anyways, well, Mitch, we enjoyed having you on today.
Yeah.
Good luck in Brawley tomorrow.
You.
Get some money for the Twin Falls County here.
Yep. Bring it back up to Southern Idaho.
Heck
and then,
yeah.
and then we're gonna get together and do some dog hunting before too long.
Dog hunting.
Exactly. All right, everybody. Thank you for tuning into this week's episode, and we'll catch you on the next one. Adios.